Have you ever thought about, those big moments in history? Who were the very first people there right after the main event?
That's a really interesting question, and it brings us to, well, a really significant day in the Orthodox Christian calendar. Today is the third Sunday after Pascha.
Pascha, right. That's Easter in the Orthodox tradition.
Exactly, the celebration of Christ's resurrection. And this Sunday, it's dedicated to the Holy Myrrhbearing Women.
The Myrrhbearing Women. Okay, the name itself sounds important. We've been looking at this really great blog post from Orthodox Christian Tool Store blog, Best Answers to Your Spiritual Questions. It gives such a unique angle on them.
It really does. It sort of makes you think differently about the whole resurrection story, doesn't it? Like maybe there are heroes we don't always focus on.
Yeah, exactly. So our mission today, I guess, is to understand who they were, why they're so important, and maybe what their story teaches us about faith and courage.
Absolutely. It's about seeing this incredibly familiar event through perhaps a less familiar lens, these women's perspective.
Okay, let's dive in. Who were these women? The blog describes them as, well, more than just bystanders.
Oh, much more. They were actual disciples, women who, followed Jesus during his ministry, and crucially, they stuck with him. Even through the horror of the Passion, they were there when, frankly, a lot of others weren't.
They stayed. And the name myrrh-bearing, where does that come from exactly?
Well, that points right to their intention. They were going to the tomb very early that Sunday morning. Their plan was to perform an act of devotion, of care, to anoint Jesus' body with spices and these myrrh oils.
Right, the traditional burial custom. But the blog post really stresses how brave that was.
It was incredibly brave. You have to picture the scene. Jerusalem was tense. The authorities had just executed Jesus. His followers were scared, hiding.
So going to the tomb was risky.
Extremely risky. They were defying their own fear, obviously, but also the Jewish authorities, Roman soldiers maybe nearby. And, it's the social rules for women at the time. It was a bold move driven purely by love and loyalty.
It really challenges that idea of who gets to be brave, who gets to act on faith.
Absolutely. It wasn't about status or gender. It was about commitment. A powerful statement.
So the blog post lists the ones we know by name from the Gospels. It's quite a group.
It is, and some names jump out more than others, of course. There's Mary Magdalene. She's probably the most well-known. Her own feast day is July 22nd.
Okay, Mary Magdalene. Who else?
Then there's Mary, the mother of James and Joses. Often she's understood to be the Theotokos, the mother of God herself.
Ah, okay. And Mary, the wife of Clopas, Joanna. Her husband worked for Herod Antipas. That's interesting.
It is, isn't it? Chusa, Herod's steward. It shows these women came from, well, different walks of life. Then Salome, the mother of James and John, the sons of Zebedee.
Like the apostles.
And Martha and Mary Lazarus' sisters. Their feast is June 4th. The blog also mentions Susanna as part of this faithful group.
It's kind of amazing. This group of women, bound by love for Jesus, they're the ones who get the news first.
The very first. They went expecting to anoint a body, a final act of service. Instead, an angel tells them, he's risen. Imagine that moment.
Unbelievable. They become the first witnesses, the first messengers.
What a reward for their faithfulness, right? Going into darkness and finding the ultimate light.
The blog post also talks about Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus. They're often called secret disciples. How do they fit in?
Right. Their role was also crucial, though maybe less public initially. Joseph, he was wealthy, respected. On the council, he actually went to Pilate, boldly asked for Jesus' body.
Wow, that took guts, considering his position.
Absolutely, a huge risk. And he placed Jesus in his own new tomb, a profound act of devotion.
And Nicodemus, the Pharisee who visited Jesus at night.
Yes, him. He'd been cautious, perhaps, but at this moment, he steps up. The blog says he brought something like 100 pounds of myrrh and aloes, a massive amount for the burial preparation.
100 pounds. So he wasn't so secret anymore.
Seems like that moment, Christ's death, solidified his commitment, made him act publicly.
So their actions, Joseph's and Nicodemus's, alongside the women's devotion, it all sets the stage.
Exactly. Fulfilling prophecy, preparing the physical place, but also showing this incredible courage and love that leads up to the resurrection itself. It's all interwoven.
Okay, let's talk about the icon. The blog describes the typical imagery for this feast day. What does it usually show?
Oh, the icons are beautiful. Typically, you see the empty tomb. There's an angel, often sitting right on the stone that was rolled away. He looks radiant, calm.
And women.
The women are there looking astonished, maybe a little fearful still, but receiving the news. The angel is often pointing to the empty grave clothes inside the tomb.
And proclaiming those words.
Yes. Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here. He is risen. It captures that exact moment of revelation, the shock, the mystery, the joy beginning to dawn.
It's like a snapshot of that turning point. And the blog says it represents the reward for their faith.
Precisely. Their faithful service, going even into the face of death, is met with this incredible news.
And this isn't just remembered in art. The blog talks about the liturgical celebration. This Sunday is a big deal during the Paschal season.
Oh, absolutely. It's celebrated with immense joy. The services, like the Divine Liturgy, really lean into the resurrection theme.
It mentions the liturgy as St. John Chrysostom's, and the services kick off with that really powerful Paschal hymn.
Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and upon those in the tombs bestowing life. Yes, that hymn sets the tone immediately. Victory, life conquering death. You hear it throughout the Paschal season, but it feels especially poignant on this Sunday.
The blog also points out the specific Bible readings for the day.
Right. For the Matin service, the Orthros, it's Luke 24.112. That's the account of the women finding the empty tomb.
Okay.
And then in the Divine Liturgy, the readings are Acts 6.17 and Mark 15.43 through 16.8. So you have the story of Joseph of Arimathea asking for the body, the burial, and Mark's account of the women at the tomb and the angel's message. It ties it all together.
And the hymns Troperia, Kentucky of the blog, includes bits of them. You mentioned these are special types of hymns.
Yes, they're specific liturgical hymns that carry the main themes of the feast day. Very rich theologically. They really help you enter into the meaning of the celebration.
It quotes the Troparion, Tone 2. The noble Joseph, taking down thy most pure body from the tree, wrapped it in clean linen with spices, and laid it in a new tomb. It really paints that picture of Joseph's actions.
It does. It focuses on the burial, the act of love that preceded the resurrection, and then the Kentuckian, also tone 2. When you said rejoice to the Myrrhbearers, you ended the lament of the first mother, Eve, by your resurrection, O Christ God.
Wow, that connects the resurrection joy directly back to overcoming the sadness from the very beginning, from Eve.
Exactly. It shows the cosmic significance of the resurrection. It's not just one event. It's the reversal of death and sorrow for all humanity, announced first to these faithful women.
It's beautiful. Now, the blog also mentions other saints commemorated today, along with the Myrrhbearers, Joseph, and Nicodemus.
Yes, it's quite a list. Besides Joseph, whose main feast is later in July, and Nicodemus, we also remember Holy Queen Tamara of Georgia. And interestingly, her feast day is May 1st, so literally today as we record this in 2025.
That's amazing timing, a direct connection.
It really is. The list also includes all saints of Thessalonica, Saint Seraphim of Phanar, new martyr Elias Ardunis, and new martyr Demetrios of Peloponnesos.
So a queen, martyrs, saints from different places and times, what connects them?
I think the connection is that same core theme. Lives lived with deep faith, profound love for Christ, and the courage to witness to that faith, often in very difficult circumstances. Just like the Myrrhbearers, their stories all echo that same commitment.
It really drives home the point the blog makes. This isn't just about looking back at history. It has a message for us now.
Absolutely. It's timeless. The story challenges us, doesn't it? How do we approach Christ? Especially when things are tough, scary, uncertain. Do we run, or do we, like the women, approach with love even if we're afraid?
Their example is, well, it's about acting on faith even when you can't see the outcome, when it looks like you're just going to anoint a dead body.
Exactly. Faith often starts in that kind of darkness, doesn't it? But their story shows it's rewarded. It leads to the light, to the resurrection. It culminates in that great announcement.
Christ is risen, granting the world great mercy.
That's the heart of it all.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the main takeaway from the blog, it seems, is just the sheer unwavering courage and love of these women. They got there first, they saw the emptiness, they heard the news.
Absolutely. Their role is pivotal. They didn't just stumble upon the empty tomb. They went there intentionally, driven by love, defying fear. And because of that, they became the first apostles to the apostles, really, the first ones to share the good news.
It really makes you think about our own lives, like the blog suggests. How ordinary people, maybe people who feel overlooked, can actually play these incredibly significant roles just by acting out of love and faith.
Yes. It shows that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting despite the fear. Their grief was immense, yet their devotion pushed them forward. That kind of quiet, persistent faithfulness. It changed everything.
It really did. So maybe a final thought for you listening, something the blog nudges us towards. What are the tombs in your life? You know, the places of struggle or fear, or maybe just the unknown questions you have.
That's a powerful question.
Yeah. Are you being called to approach those places with that same Myrrhbearer spirit, with courage, with love, even if you don't know what you'll find? Could you maybe witness some kind of breakthrough, some new life, some resurrection in your own situation? How might that spirit of facing the impossible with faith apply to your journey today?